right, friends. So I'm going to follow the rules as written here in How to Make a Character. This game also appeared in the Gauntlet's Codex, which is the irregular monthly magazine, semi-monthly or every other month magazine that came out. And rules are generally the same. There are a couple little tweaks here, but the first choice that you two need to make is what kind of relationship did the ghost and the human have when the ghost was alive? I'll quickly go through these. The mechanical impact of this, where'd my character keeper go, is that you get different questions in the relationships. And so, for example, if we choose a romantic relationship, you'll get kind of questions related to that. That is really the main impact of it. It sort of helps set up the story between you two. So romantic is obviously you two had a romantic attachment. This is very much the movie Ghost, Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. Professional, when the ghost was alive, you two worked together. For example, if you were both journalists or something like that. Mentorship, one of you was the teacher, the other was the student. Familial, you two considered each other family. So maybe you were not blood relatives per se, maybe you were just really close friends, but you considered yourselves, like cousins, like siblings, that kind of thing. Rivalry, you two were adversaries with each other. And ancestral, in this case, the ghost is one of the humans' ancestors, which means maybe you didn't know each other when the ghost was alive because it was generations ago. I will say that we refer to the human as the investigator. You do not need to be a police officer. In my last game I played on the Gauntlet in January, the human was a journalist, right? Someone who was an investigative reporter. So, and I urge you to kind of think in that direction. Once we pick the relationship type, we will then make the even harder decision of who gets to be the ghost and who gets to be the human. So Tia, let me put you on the spot. Do any of these jump out at you? Are there any of these relationships that you are more interested in than the others?
I think ancestral sounds cool.
I would love to. I've not actually played with that one, so I would love to try that. Jim, how do you feel about that one?
That totally works for me. That's great. Yeah.
Let us do it. I can't remember if we. Yeah, we answer the relationship prompts later. All right. So now the hard part. Who wants to be the human and who wants to be the ghost? Jim, do you have a preference?
My preference is, because it's Tia's first time doing this, that I let Tia make that call. Unless you want to, Tia, I apologize. What are your pronouns that you prefer?
She and her are
there
fine.
We go. Cool. All right. Let me and I'm gonna just put mine on the screen here too. Cool. Tia, unless you want to declaim responsibility for that, then.
Oh gosh.
Because I'm happy doing either.
I think I'll take the ghost.
Cool.
If that's okay.
Yeah, please, yeah.
So what's interesting about the ghost, and this has been a fun challenge for all the tables, is the way the relationship starts out is you can't communicate directly with each other. Like that builds over that connection builds over time. So we all try and find ways to bring the ghost in to the narrative. And it's challenging, but it's super duper fun. So we want the ghost to be more than window dressing, right? We want the ghost to be very much a part of the investigator's world. So very cool. Thank you. You are the investigator's ancestor. So that's that'll be fun. Jim, that makes you the investigator.
Okay.
So now what's next is once you've done that, you can pick a move. Tia, in PBTA, a move, there's lots of ways to define it, but it is simply a rule in this case that we are picking. These moves give each character some abilities. I believe you can pick from the list here. With the ghost, the moves entail how you are manifest here on the material world. With the investigator, it's sort of your different styles of investigation. So I will give you two a moment. You can look through the rules where I've got them written out, or you can just click through. I'll give you a moment to select your moves.
Where are we? The rules are all on the one screen here?
The move,
or is there a separate link for the rules?
I'll send you a link for the rules. Thanks for the reminder.
I almost certainly have that issue of Codex somewhere in my on my computer amongst my many PDFs.
Yes.
But digging it out, yeah.
My older son the other day was like, I want to start a new game with my group. Can you send me your list of games? And I'm like, dude,
I could.
There should be a game for picking a game because
yeah.
And this next link I'm posting is for the entire Google Drive.
So for the ghost, I'm picking what links me to the human plane.
That's, yeah. So it's revenge, an artifact, clerical error in the afterlife, and then guardianship are your choices.
Oh, you know what's a little bit goofier touchstone for this is Beetlejuice.
I was just thinking clerical error is very Beetlejuice.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah.
Such a good point.
Yeah.
What a great excuse to watch that movie again.
And that's one that definitely goes, like you say, more towards the kind of goofier, more gonzo and end of things. That's
And I am such a Winona Ryder fan.
Mm-hmm.
88 that movie came out.
Yep. Back when Alec Baldwin was charming.
That does seem like a mythic age.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of charm in the Royal Tenenbaums as the narrator. Not as much, but there's enough there.
Yeah, like it was before we knew how much of a just a gigantic asshat he was in real life, like mean to his kids and stuff. So that's that was pre Kim Basinger. So oh man. Oh, what kind of investigator do I want to be?
I think artifact makes a lot of sense with the whole ancestral vibe, but a clerical error just seems so funny to me.
I've played with the artifact, and what's cool about the artifact is because the investigator may have this thing, this possession, creates interesting ways for you all to communicate with each other. The only thing I played with the clerical error in my last game, and I think in a one shot it may be hard to kind of get through all those boxes of of the countdown timer, but we can try.
I think an artifact. If it's an ancestor, maybe it's like an heirloom and it's passed down. That might be nice.
I love it. This movie has Catherine O'Hara in it too, apparently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Forgotten.
She's Winona's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gosh, my entire life is one big black room. So good.
Jim, have you zeroed in on an investigator's style?
I have. It's what do I want to call it? Shabby chic, I think is what I'm going to call it. That kind of thing where I ostensibly dress like I'm like getting stuff from a thrift store, but really actually it looks pretty cool.
Right.
And I am not basing my high school teenage girl busybody investigator on any particular fictional character. So
And you've chosen rough and tumble for the move.
yes.
Sweet.
I have lockpicks, I think. Or whatever, strategically placed bobby pins or something like that.
Oh, I should say, I'm not leaving. I'm just adjusting.
No worries.
No, yeah. Do whatever you need to do. Actually, since Tia stepped off for a moment, I'm gonna go grab myself a beverage, Dan. I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
That's fair. Oh my gosh, my life without cats. I could have such nice curtains.
It's funny because we just got a cat.
I mean, I love them dearly, but also they really make you think about how you're furnishing your space.
Yeah. Yes. And my dog is questioning everything about her life right now with this new cat. So.
There's just like this ongoing list, like can't have plants that are not like hanging from the ceiling. If we have candles, they have to be like in these very elaborate containers so that they can't like touch them by accident.
Right.
Or on purpose.
I mean, part of me wants them to just learn the lesson the hard way, but also I know that's a terrible thing. So
yeah. We had a cat who would like slap like candles and put them out, but he'd get like wax like in his toes. And then we had another cat, he was very fluffy and he had like no spatial awareness, and he like flicked his tail like into a candle and like burned his fur. And he's just like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Yeah, help us out. You have 1 or 2 cats?
I have 2.
2.
My parents have 4. We've always had a lot of animals.
Yeah.
So. We all until very recently still lived together, and then when we split up, it was a whole thing of like who is taking which animal.
Did you get your first choices?
Mostly. They took one of the cats that I wanted. But yeah, they moved to the country and they have a bigger space. They took most.
T, are you maybe you are new to character keepers, so I will explain. I was introduced to using a tool that I normally use for work, Google Sheets or a spreadsheet for
Mhm.
storing information about characters. Is that something that you've seen or done before?
No, this is very different from character sheets that I am used to.
Yeah. So I love it, honestly. And I use these in my home game now as well. Um, and the Gauntlet has a collection of probably hundreds of these for different games.
Mhm.
So instead of a character sheet that we print out because we're not in the same room, we use a shared spreadsheet. Um, there's some nice little tricks that you can, when you're creating these, so that, for example, I will do this on your behalf. Since you want to do an artifact, you can choose an artifact and then it kind of fills in the move for
That's
you.
amazing.
But thank you. But what I really like is a really well-designed character keeper means we only really need to look at this thing and we have all the information that we need about all the characters. So if you are trying to, I don't know, interact with Jim's character, Betty, you see everything that Jim sees about his character. And I really like kind of that information sharing. My approach to running a PBTA style game is it's very improvisational and it's very collaborative. So we will all work together to build the world, build the relationships. As I said, I don't really have a ton kind of planned out for us because I like discovering it together. Um, and so there's not really any secrets between us either. The idea is we as players get all the information out on the table, and then we can decide what our characters know and don't
Mhm.
know.
I should add, though, that if you encounter a situation where you want to ask either one of us a question privately, you can do that in chat on Zoom just by pinging us. And then it will, like even if it's just because like if one of us is, like if I'm holding forth for something in my character, you just want to ask Dan a question on the side, we definitely use the chat there as well.
A lot,
So you
yeah.
should feel free to, just type stuff in there.
Sometimes the more interesting stuff is happening in chat.
It's true.
So Tia, I will let you, if you want to kind of come up with a name for your character.
Yes, a name, a good and interesting name.
And give them some pronouns. And then that will constitute the bulk of our character creation process.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna cheat a little bit.
Please do. There are many naming things. Oh,
That would have been my name if I was a boy.
there you go.
That's great.
I like the one name thing.
Do I need to put something for style?
You
Do I
don't have
a
to
ghostly style?
right now. I mean, maybe we move forward and then kind of see where we land with some of the other fiction. So,
Okay.
so I'm going to ask first Jim's character Betty a question. We've got this. Oh, actually, what we should talk about is Tia, do you have a sense of what the artifact is? What is it that Tiberius is attached to? And you can make up literally anything.
A good artifact that's maybe an heirloom. I don't know why, but puzzle box just leaped immediately into my mind.
Love it. Like a wooden puzzle box.
Yeah.
That is super cool. One of the other great things about doing this online is we can kind of find images and kind of dump them in to our spreadsheet just to kind of create that. All right, so now we've got this puzzle box. I'm imagining it's fairly handheld.
Sorry, I'm imagining that when I finally see you, you're gonna have pins sticking out of your face.
Not that in like that's like a hardcore puzzle. Mine is more of a
Okay.
a medium
Yeah,
puzzle.
okay.
Has the puzzle been solved, or is this sort of like, is this like a puzzle so hard that no one in the family has ever been able to solve it?
I kind of like the idea that it's not all that hard to solve, but nobody cared about it. Like it
Okay.
was sitting in a box in the attic, right?
Yeah.
And I actually cared about going through family stuff and was like, oh, this is a cute little thing. And I went clickety clickety clack. And that was whatever, like, you know, woke Tiberius up,
they
right?
could solve it if they cared about puzzles like at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it.
Family stuff. Yeah.
All right. So we've got a puzzle box. So Betty, what mythology was handed down through the family about the ancestor? What do you think people in the family have talked about or have said about Tiberius?
Tiberius, that kind of I want to say that Tiberius couldn't settle down. Tiberius was always like, you know, like always had some kind of new scheme that they were working on, and they you know, they couldn't stay in one place for very long, and they just sort of wandered out. They were like, they had the wanderlust. That was what that's the quote. Tiberius had the wanderlust.
I love that, and I feel maybe people in the family were like, you don't want to end up like Tiberius.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
You, like, this is like, you know, like Tiberius had the wanderlust, and like, you know, all they left was this, you know, whatever, like all their possessions gonna, you know, fit in this one bag, and in that bag was the puzzle box.
I love that. Tia, does that sound all okay with you?
Yeah, it sounds great.
You want to embellish that at all?
When thinking, since I was wandering a lot, maybe the puzzle, along with some of the other stuff that I've left, is like things I picked up in my travels.
Oh, we're like souvenirs.
Yeah.
That's great. I'll just switch. All right, love it. So Tiberius, let me ask you, what would you find most surprising about the family today?
Maybe how conventional they are. If I was like super into traveling, I might be kind of not annoyed, but like maybe a little bit disappointed that they're so stationary, that they don't try new things, they don't explore at all. They lead very mild lives.
They don't explore at all. I love that. What do you think, Jim? Does that sound?
Oh yeah, that's great.
You said Betty is a high school student in your mind?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is
she's Veronica Mars. Okay, she's Veronica Mars. Let's just I'm just gonna let me just put that out. She's Veronica Mars with a boring family. That's yeah.
She's boring Veronica Mars.
She's not boring.
Oh.
She's Veronica Mars if her if her mom hadn't, you know, freaked out. So
got it. All right. What am I looking for here? All right. So does she investigates stuff then? So she's like is she like Veronica Mars in that she investigates things?
I mean, I think that like I kind of like that idea that like it's not so much that she's an investigator, it's that she's curious, right? you know, like I'm stuck in this town, and so I gotta try and find things that are interesting, and that almost invariably means that I'm gonna end up like the only interesting places are places I'm not supposed to be. So you know, so maybe I've had a friend here and there that's, you know, like I found somebody's, you know, missing a dog for them or something like that. That's
So it sounds like your parents maybe use the Tiberius thing a lot with you. Like if you get too curious, you're going to end up like Tiberius and wander around. Does that sound right?
I think that I actually don't want that to be like a thing that's been held over me since I was a kid.
Okay.
I think that this is like whenever like a year or two ago, I had one of those family tree assignments, right?
Yep, I love it.
And I said, and it was like, what's the deal with my fourth cousin twice removed Tiberius? You've never mentioned them to me before. And I got the, oh, well, see, here's the thing about Tiberius. You know, like, you know, we like, and it's not so much a like, you don't want to be like Tiberius. It's like, oh, Tiberius,
Right.
you know, Tiberius, you know, they kind of marched to the beat of their own drummer, and, you know, it was, you know, and I think it's more like dismissive than, you know, like admonition.
That's great. All righty. I think we are largely done. Let me just look at our process here. Yeah, we're done. We've named the moves. We have named the characters, and we've answered these relationship prompts. Tia, was there anything else you feel like we should fill in about Tiberius? Anything else you think we should know about him? About them, I should say.
No, I think that's a good place to start.
Okay. Cool. You know what I might suggest is that we take our break a little early and give me a moment to kind of think through where we can go from here. Actually, let me just ask a quick question. Since Betty is in high school and Veronica Mars started with the murder of a high school student, are we okay with the murder of a high school student, or would we rather make our mystery among the adults?
I think I'd rather make our mystery among the adults. I don't want to start off by killing off high school students. And it doesn't have to be, so here's my question. Does it have to be a murder? Or can it be some other kind of, I mean, is it generally it's a murder, and that's what we.
That is what I have done before.
Got it. Okay.
I am happy to do something else.
Like, I mean, you said that it can be somewhere between, like, I mean, if we're going in the Scooby-Doo direction, I mean, it can be, they're gonna, like, this can be like gonna tear something down in town or something like that.
Right.
You know, maybe, oh, Tiberius, like, what's your favorite historical thing in town that I can, you know, that's under threat?
Yeah. It would probably be like an old movie theater.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, Dan, are you okay with that? Something that's a little more like, you know, whatever, like,
yes.
Yeah. And so like, because in my head, I mean, not to play anything out in advance, but like, it doesn't have to start with a murder, but if there's like a lot of money on the line, then like the threat can escalate when people start to get desperate about protecting their money and stuff like that. So
right.
If that works for you, then yeah. Whatever, right. You know, I want to try and get dirt on this, you know, developer that wants to tear down the movie theater and put some condos up or something like that.
Tiberius, since it's a movie theater, I'm thinking maybe you are not a distant ancestor, but maybe 1930s, 1940s. What era do you think you were alive during? And you would, of course, if back then you would refer to this as a dream palace, not as
Cinema.
I want to say 30s. 30s seems good. There's a lot of good cinema in the 30s.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's where it was really coming together. All right, so I've got, let's call it 9:50. Let's just reconvene right at 10. Sound okay?
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, friends, see you shortly. Let me ask this question. Tia, since this is your first exposure to Powered by the Apocalypse, would you find it helpful to do kind of a quick rules overview? Or should we just dive in and we can kind of bring up the rules as needed? Do you have a preference? What would make you more comfortable?
We can bring them up as needed. I learn better with examples anyway, so.
Okay. I will say one thing, and that is you probably noticed that there are no ability scores. You know,
I did notice.
You're used to strength, dexterity, blah, blah, blah. Well, in this game, and I will not bore you with the history of this game, but there is one ability score that you share. So both of you have what we call an attunement score. Powered by the Apocalypse, typically scores range from -3 to +3, or generally -2 to +2. So the one score that you have is the attunement, which measures how attuned you are to each other. There are two kinds of rolls you might make. Rolls that sort of the most powerful moves that you can make in the game are things where you are working together. And so you will roll plus that attunement score. There are things that you can do independently or separately or not focused on coordination. And those rolls are based on another number. But I did want to point out kind of the backbone of the game is this, I call it the Attunement Ladder. Normally you start out at -1. Since we're playing a one shot, we'll start out at 0. And as you make moves, that's your opportunity to bump up the attunement. Right now, the only way you can, Tiberius can manifest to Betty is through an emotional manifestation. The way I've played this before is Betty might be in a situation feeling something, but Tiberius has different feelings about that situation. And so Betty starts to feel what Tiberius would be feeling if they were alive. So I did want to just mention that one thing. I'm going to stop sharing, or would you prefer I keep the character keeper up? Does anyone have a strong preference either way?
I'd prefer that you stop sharing so that we can see each other's faces more clearly. And
Yes.
we've got, we can, I'm used to tabbing back and forth. So that's, yeah.
Perfect. Great. I appreciate that. I'm just going to start you all in the movie theater. Betty is attending a screening of something. Jim, do you have any ideas as to why?
Yeah, let me look at my, I have dropped the an internet 100 best films of the 1930s list into our chat there. So let me see.
So it's sort of like a retrospective. It's not a modern movie.
Yes. Yeah. No, this is like a total, like, this is like one of those places. It's an art house, right? So they do first run screenings of, like, like costume dramas and, like foreign films, like stuff with subtitles and serious, like when they do action films, it's subtitled wuxia movies, right?
Right.
Or whatever, or like, complicated, like French assassin thrillers and stuff like this. But I think right now, let's see, what do we got here?
I named our theater, the Springfield Rosewood Cinema Hall.
Yes, that's
That is-
Excellent.
fantastic.
Is that okay? All right.
Can I just say, as an aside, how happy I am that the first movie on this list is Rules of the Game.
Yeah, this is a great list. There's
So
some
good.
cool stuff on here. Like I mean, like they've got like a bunch of like Truffaut and Renoir and not Truffaut, but like, but yeah, there's like Renoir and
Fritz Lang is on here.
Fritz Lang
Of
is on
Modern
here. Yeah,
Times. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah. There's a bunch
God,
of good
this
stuff.
list makes me so happy.
Yeah. This is really good. So I think that it is 39 Steps. It's a Hitchcock. They're doing like a Hitchcock retrospective, and this is, and they're like showing them chronologically, right? So I'm at a showing of the 39 Steps.
Have you seen this movie before, Betty?
No. And in fact, I only really recently got into these old films. They never interested me before, but I just kind of like, I was walking by the theater and for some reason I, like, so let's say I was walking by the theater when they were showing Rules of the Game and I was like, I had no particular motivation to see it before that, but I just decided to go in and check it out. And over the last several months, I've just gotten really into these old movies. It's just like it's become a thing.
I mean, surely it's ever since you found that puzzle box in the attic.
I mean, I wouldn't. I think I would not necessarily put that together at this point, but like I think the audience watching the show knows that it's ever since I found that puzzle box in the attic. Yeah, absolutely.
Whenever Betty walks through by the theater, Tiberius, I think she keeps the puzzle box kind of around in her pocket, in her bag.
I like the idea that it's small enough you can hold it in one hand.
Okay.
That it's like it's maybe one of these things. It's not like a bunch of it's not like a thing you take apart or put together, but it's one of these things with like sliding panels on it.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. And so like I use it like a fidget toy.
Yep.
Right. Since I found it, I have it in my pocket and I maybe even solved it accidentally. Like
okay.
just fidgeting with it. Right. And so like just when I'm walking around, I'll just have it and I'll just be like, working just kind of sliding the panels around in it. And I think it's gotten to the point now where I can just do it by feel because like my fingertips recognize the bits that are carved into it. Yeah. So
Tiberius, every time she walks by the theater, how does that make you feel? What sort of vibe do you give off?
I get when she's just walking past it, it's sort of like a nostalgic feeling, because movies were such a great way to see new places and new things and new people, and especially travelogues were really popular back in the day. But when she finally goes in for the first time, it's that pure excitement you get when you're sharing something that you love. I'm just so pleased.
I imagine, Tiberius, you're a bit of a wanderer, but this is sort of the hometown where the family has some roots. And so whenever you would come back, like going to the theater was a big ritual for you too. Does that sound right?
Definitely.
Okay. And she's seeing 39 Steps. That's like, isn't that one of your favorites? When was the first time you saw 39 Steps? Were you out on a date? Were you just by yourself in the theater? Were you with a group of friends?
I probably would have just gotten back to town and thought, I should definitely go to the movies by myself. Pure experience.
Yep.
And who better than Hitchcock? He was a pioneer.
Yeah. Betty, are you finding any of the movie especially scary, or does it sort of not resonate with your modern sensibilities?
I think that that the thing I have found fascinating about these is that like it is completely different to watch this stuff. Like they can do things in black and white that are kind of amazing, that it's like it almost feels like I'm watching like animation. And I'm just kind of voraciously taking this stuff in now. And I think there's like I'm looking for new stuff that they're doing with the camera and the way that the shadows work and stuff like that and everything, and in the black and white that you can't get out of, you know, color.
There is,
so
there's no one under 50 in the theater. There's like maybe 4 or 5 other people. I think the theater holds no more than 100 seats, and there's some folks scattered around. Oh, I meant to ask, of course, you must have stopped at the concession stand.
what? No, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to pay $8 for a box of popcorn.
I know, but Sterling Parker works at the concession stand.
Sterling Parker works at the concession stand.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the cheapest possible thing I can buy at the concession stand?
Cup.
Probably like a $3 bottle of water, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
No. I can come up and ask him for a cup to get water out of the fountain.
Right. Yes.
So I stand in line to get up, and super casually like, "Hey Sterling, can I get a cup for the water fountain?"
Do you have a good relationship with Sterling, or is this an early flirtation? What are you feeling?
Sterling has no goddamn idea who I am.
So he just kind of slams the cup on the. He's like he wants.
Oh
to,
no! I don't think he's a like Sterling works here because he wants to be a cinematographer someday, right? So
he's also a high school student in my imagination.
He's a senior. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So
He's
working on a student film right now.
So. In the Springfield High School AV club. Tiberius, you're sensing Betty's anxiety as she's kind of approaching the concession stand. How do you buoy her confidence at all? Do you respond at all to her feelings?
Take a moment to wonder what could be so nerve-wracking about getting some water. And I'm like, oh, it must be the person at the counter. I'll try to like give her a boost.
Great. All right. So so you've got your cup of ice and water, and there's maybe 5 or 6 folks in the theater. The movie's going. I think to raise the stakes here, I might suggest that a group of people come in and they start talking while the movie is going. And these are folks who are sort of pointing out things, looking at things, stuff like that. Betty, do you engage with them at all? Or are you going to?
Oh my God. Yeah. I
shush them.
I don't shush them. Like I say, I say, hey, what do I say? Like, hey, the curated viewings are on Saturday. We don't need commentary. Take it into the lobby.
That is so high school. And they completely ignore what you're saying. They just kind of brush you off. We could
are they still talking?
Yeah, I mean they're kind of trying to keep their voices down a little bit, but they really do not care about the movie, about the customers, or about the theater itself. So
I'm gonna bounce a Skittle off of one of their heads.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, uh, so we could trigger a move. This could be kind of a take them down move, which is when you work together to pursue, evade, get physical, or start shooting, which I would imagine a Skittle is kind of like shooting. Describe your approach and then roll. If Tiberius is not really involved in this, this can be just a get it done move. So I guess, Tiberius, are you encouraging her? How are you feeling when you see these folks coming in and disrespecting one of your most favorite movies? How does that feel to you?
Oh, I hate it. It's the worst. It's so rude and terrible. I'm not super keen on the throwing food strategy, but I don't want anyone to talk through the movie. That's just trash behavior. So I encourage this.
Okay, so you're
And are they like very, how are they dressed, presenting themselves? Is it like, are they like obviously a bunch of suits?
yes, these are not
Yeah, okay.
people. You
Okay,
are
yeah.
These are not Springfield people.
Got it. Okay.
Though I think you do recognize the theater owner among them. I named her what did I name her? Teresa Hoyt,
Okay.
but she's the one who seems the most distraught and frustrated
Yeah.
by this
yeah.
whole thing.
Okay.
All right, so when we roll check it out, excuse me, when we roll take them down, we'll have an interesting interpretation of these results. The way I've liked to do this, because it's one roll, we can either the person who's kind of driving the action can do the roll, or each of you can roll one die. Do you have
No, I really like that each of us rolls one die thing.
It's kind of
I don't-
fun.
Tia, how do you feel about that? Like, I really
love
dig
it.
that. So,
It's
okay,
cute.
cool.
So Tia,
Sharing.
have you used an online dice roller before?
Discord has like a bot that you can use to
Mm.
roll dice, but I find it really confusing. So
This is not less confusing, but I do like it well enough. So I just posted a link to the chat. This is one of the dice rollers that we use. In fact, this was created by one of the members of the Gauntlet community. The best way to do this is you'll see a heading on the left called Build a Roll. Nice, Betty. And you can put 1 in the D6 box. Be sure to put it in the D6 box. Every game I've played, someone's actually accidentally rolled D2s and no one noticed until well after the roll. And then there's a purple button at the bottom. I think it's purple, that you can click roll the dice. There you go. So in Powered by the Apocalypse, we're looking for 7 to 9 or a 10 plus as any kind of success. And a 6- is a miss. Because your attunement level is 0, we don't add any number here. So you rolled an 8, which means you subdue the threat or reach the quarry. Pick 1 from the manifestation list. So Jim
Yeah.
or Betty, tell me, you hit the person with the Skittle. What do you expect happens now?
I think what happens is, like, I've escalated it, and Terry, like the like whoever I dinked with the Skittle, that, like, you know, dude with the suit with the, you know, with the whatever, the gold tie clip, and the, you know, whatever, the what do you call it, like the blowout in his hair. He like turns and glares at me, but then Terry is like no, we really need to, like there's a screening actually right now. Sorry. Let's go back out into the lobby until, you know, whatever. I'll show you the projection booth or something like that. And so she kind of, like he gives me the stink eye, but she like gets them to move back out to where they're not interfering with the screening, I think.
I love that. And I feel like also she gives you a look too, now that you've been coming in maybe a little bit more regularly, and it's not angry at all. It's almost sympathetic. Like,
and definitely a couple of the other customers who didn't want to make a fuss themselves kind of look at me and like, give me a little like,
oh, right.
Yeah.
So one of the other consequences of this role is that you have to pick one from the manifestation list. I've put that list in the chat. Basically, this says that any consequences of your move are based on kind of where you're at on that attunement ladder. So Tiberius, do any of these jump out at you? You want to pick one of these?
Maybe the ghost affects the feelings of someone else nearby.
Oh yeah. I feel like your righteous indignation is riling up the senior crowd here, and not only are they giving approving looks to Betty, but they're saying their confidence is raised, and they're also starting to shout at the developers. I think the person that you hit, I named him Elvin Atwater.
Oh my God. Of course he is.
Of Atwater Development.
LLC.
Atwater Development Partners.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
LLP. Sorry.
Yeah. There are so many where I live, outside of DC. There are so many places like this. This was very easy to come up with. Anyway, he was the one in kind of the gray, shiny suit. Betty, do you feel like you need to stick around to the end of the movie, or do you want to find out what's going on?
Yeah, the whole point of this was to stick around to the end of the movie.
Right.
I haven't seen this before.
Right. When the movie ends, you get a visit from Travis Oakes. Travis is the projectionist. And as you're sitting through the credits, because that's what you do.
Oh yeah.
He comes and he sits next to you and he's like, I saw what you did. They're gonna tear this place down.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's why Terry's talking to everybody. The developers are moving in. They're building up all of Springfield.
So what's Travis's deal? Is Travis working here part-time while he goes to community college? Is he retired? What's his
That's good.
deal?
That's good. I like the community college angle. I mean, he's really studying to be a dental technician.
Mm-hmm.
But this pays the bills. So
and I think maybe I wonder if we know each other somehow from outside of the theater or something like that, or is this just, or am I meeting him for the first time here, or what?
I think that's he had maybe seen you around before.
There we go. Okay, all right.
But like now he's approaching you like his job's in jeopardy. So.
Okay. And I say, no kidding. And I do that thing where I kind of like raise an eyebrow and then I reach out and I tap his little name badge and I say, Travis.
Yeah, I'm Travis. I wonder if
Travis, what do you do? Are you?
I'm the projectionist. I'm the person who runs the film.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, there's not many of us left in the, it's all going digital. So there's not really a need for trained projectionists. I mean, this is not what I want to do, do, but it's, pays the bills, and it's, I get to meet cool people.
Why wouldn't this be what you want to do?
Well, I don't know. I feel like projectionism is it's a dying art, and I gotta make ends meet.
Travis, do you feel like that, or does your dad feel like that?
Excuse me, I'm a grown man. I'm in my third year at community college in studying to become a dental technician. They don't let just anybody clean people's teeth. So
It's true. It's true. Why is Terry gonna sell? What's going on?
They're forcing her into it.
Forcing her how?
They've got her hands tied. This place is not making any money whatsoever. She's up to her eyeballs in debt. The bakery next door, they sold out. That place has kick-ass donuts, and where are we going to get donuts now? Nowhere. Dunkin'? I don't think so. And so the whole block is selling out to these developer asshats.
No, I don't think so, Travis. I don't think that's going to happen here. I don't think we can let that happen.
Well, if you know how to prevent it, more power to you.
I'm almost less concerned about this than about you spending the rest of your life sticking your fingers into strange people's mouths, Travis. I think we need to work together to make sure that doesn't happen.
If you can save this theater, I will continue working here. I think while all of this is happening, by the way, I picture the ghost present. Like, you're not just trapped in the box. You are sitting next to Betty, just in ghostly form, and she's sort of barely aware of your presence. But there is another ghost here. I was wondering if maybe it is a actress
Ooh.
who attended a premiere here.
Oh, that's really interesting. I like that. Yeah. Okay.
Oops. Because this used to be a pretty nice place, one of the most premier theaters on the East Coast.
Can I pitch a
Yeah.
different idea?
Yeah.
It's the organist, when the place used to do live music along with the films.
Good. So even better, you, Tiberius, see someone sitting at the front of the theater, and they are clearly, you can recognize other ghosts, and they're sitting there kind of like they were playing along to the movie, only you could hear it, obviously. They turn to you, this organist. Let's make it Faye Durwood, ghost organist. She turns to you and she says, did I just hear correctly that they're going to tear down the old palace?
I think that's what the teeth boy said. They're going to sell it? I don't know why they would do that.
That's a real problem.
Certainly is. Where else will we be able to watch these excellent classic films?
Apparently there's something called the internet today, and apparently people watch movies on it. I've never seen one for myself or seen an internet myself, but that's why they don't need these places anymore. But look at this place. Tiberius, they've preserved all the decor from back when you were here. How is the ceiling decorated in this theater?
Sorry, cats.
That's okay.
I'm imagining that it's one of those theaters that's just one room.
Yeah.
And it has like the velvet curtains.
Of course.
And a really funky carpet. And the ceiling is like ornately stenciled but
Yes.
not too much because you don't want a lot of distraction. And it has like columns like up the side where the curtains are.
Yes. Stenciled with, is it a particular pattern or image, or is it more abstract?
I think it's more abstract, maybe like because the curtains are usually red, so it's probably like a lot of golds and browns,
Yep.
like a very warm palette.
Yeah, love it. And let's see if there's anything else. What is they've upgraded the chairs, though. You've noticed that the seats are upgraded. What jumps out at you about these modern theater seats?
They have cup holders.
100%. Yes.
And they're a little bit wider and like further apart.
Yeah.
Most theaters are very like narrow aisles.
Yep.
So they like stretch them out.
Yep. Yep.
Unnecessarily.
Love it. Yeah. So Faye approaches you and says, I was thinking about making this kind of bringing a little bit of occult stuff in here where there's maybe something buried under the theater that would create problems for the developers. Do we want to go in that direction, or do we feel like that's too weird?
That sounds cool.
Yeah, so maybe Faye implies to you, like, if they were to dig this place up, they might unleash something. That's why I can't move on. I'm stuck here.
What kind of something? Is there something under the theater?
Something under the theater. It's very powerful.
Her playing totally keeps it asleep.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, if I don't play,
Oh, I
it will
see.
wake. I can take short breaks, but I should probably get back to it for our next screening. Well, will I see you again?
Of course. Don't worry, I won't let that teeth boy wake up whatever is under the theater.
It's not the projectionist I'm worried about. It's those guys in the shiny suits. I didn't know they made those suits so shiny.
Yeah, they're very off-putting. Don't know what that's about. Modern clothes, so weird.
Did you come to where's my list of movies? Did you come to the premiere of when they did when they showed Stagecoach here?
Mhm.
Wasn't that amazing? They had John Ford
It is
come to the theater.
It's such a wonderful event. Everyone got all dressed up and no one talked through the movie, which was really nice.
I mean, John Wayne came to the premiere here. That kind of stuff doesn't happen anymore.
It certainly doesn't. Well, I think my was she my cousin like twice removed? if I've gotten any sense of that girl, I don't think she'll let this happen. I'm sure we can find a way to preserve the theater.
Well, if you can find a way to tell her that whatever's under here, if they dig it up, there will be a problem. That would be a big help.
I will work on that.
I think we're leaving the theater. Betty, do you have a particular destination in mind?
I don't think so. I mean, I've just got out of here. Oh, probably. I wonder if I have like if this is a like it's a weekday and I just cut class to watch the matinee. So I probably have to like, you know, whatever, like I took the whatever, like I arranged to have 2 study halls in a row,
Yeah.
right? So that I could blow out but I think like in the afternoons I have to do whatever like crappy work study job it is that I have, you know, to like make pocket money.
And what would Betty's job?
It is, I think it's Is it tutoring?
I almost want to put her in a place where she could overhear the developers talking.
Oh, so it's definitely like, so then, yeah, so then, yeah, then in that case, then just some kind of like I just take like, what I do is I take like temp jobs, like crappy temp jobs. And, you know, and because of the way temp work works, like I take my assignments like 2 weeks at a time. So
Yep.
that if it sucks, I can just blow it off and go somewhere else.
Yep.
And I think I'm at, you know, I am just like doing like filing at, or probably like data entry of some kind or something like that.
Okay.
At this, at whatever like office building it is that
they happen to be
yes,
in
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah, I like that. I think as you're going to work, you see just ahead of you those same dudes
Mhm.
getting into the elevator
Mhm.
in front of you. And I don't know, I'm picturing you like, are you following them? You know, I could also see like, oh, I don't want to go in the elevator with those guys.
I don't. So I do. So this is, we see the thing where I look at them, and like, you know, and I kind of like wait back so that they don't see me. And then ding, you know, like the doors close, and then I like run to the stairs, race up to the next flight, like look out the door to see if they're getting off this floor, and if they're not, then I race up to the next floor until I see the elevator doors open. And then I kind of, you know, do like figure out which office they're going to, following them at a distance.
That's great. I always forget how to play my own games. So one of the things that we do, we're meant to do, is capture leads. So as you are going through stuff, you are meant to kind of capture leads, and then we can talk about investigating them. So I'm going to say one of your leads is theater owner chatting with development firm. I'm going to say another lead, though Betty doesn't really know this, is there's something under the theater.
Yep.
I will say another lead is the bakery sold out.
There we go. Yep. Okay, cool.
Does that sound all right?
Yep.
So now we're basically pursuing these leads. Let me just look at one thing to remind myself. We can render these as statements or as questions. So you're basically trying to answer these questions or pursue these leads. Once we come up with an answer to these question, that becomes a clue. So I'm going to change this to, why was the theater owner chatting? I'm going to change this to, what the hell is under the theater? And why did the bakery sell out? Can you all think of any other burning questions you have based on what we've played so far?
No, I think that's a pretty solid account of everything.
All right. So I'm going to say Betty's doing a get it done move. This is where you're acting on your own to kind of further the mystery.
Totally.
You know, just kind of running up the stairs is all Betty.
Yep.
I don't know that Tiberius really plays a role there. So you're trying to overcome a threat or discover an obstacle, discover a clue. So describe your goal and roll minus stress. We haven't marked any stress yet. So you would just roll flat or roll with 0. What is your goal?
My goal is to figure out exactly where this guy works, where his office is.
Okay. Great. So give me a roll. 2d6.
Cool. Yeah, let's see what we got here. 2. Roll the dice.
Nice.
Oh, that is a 10.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So you discover a clue or overcome a significant obstacle, and you pick two. You can avoid taking stress, avoid attracting attention, avoid leaving evidence of your involvement.
Did I accomplish my goal and pick two? I am going to avoid taking stress. And I'm going to avoid attracting attention,
Okay.
but I am happy to leave a trace that I was here.
Right. I think you, just to move things along, I wonder if you overhear that Atwater saying something along the lines of, yes, I want the theater, but really I want what's underneath. And I will do anything to get it. And when you hear, does that sound like a reasonable clue? And when you hear that, maybe also catch a name. Let's say Dr. Sherman, Vivian Sherman, who works at the community college. She's not a medical doctor. She's an archaeologist.
She's a PhD, not an MD.
Yeah. Right. She is still a doctor as far as I'm concerned. Yes. Oh, current events. I think they hear you close the stairwell door. Does that sound all right?
Absolutely, yeah, because nobody in this building uses friggin' stairs. There's something
Right.
weird's going on there. Yeah.
And it's one of those big metal industrial doors, so you can't help
it. Yeah,
it.
it's a fire door. Yeah, sure.
It bangs a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like this being the comic moment where I like very carefully and slowly, like ease it back into the frame, and I'm all cool. And then I let go of the bar, and it goes like ka-chung as it settles back in. So yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so good. I just spelled Vivian Sherman completely wrong. Hang on. So now you've got two clues. Actually, I'm going to say Vivian Sherman is a lead. At the end of the day, or at the end of the, what you want to be doing is collecting these clues, and then when we get to the end of our session, you are essentially putting the clues together to solve the mystery. There is no, I don't know what it is. We're just going to kind of make up a solution for it. But you can always use a clue by marking it. When you use a clue, if I remember, you are rolling with advantage. Yes. You roll with advantage on any of the moves that you might make. So basically, you gather the clue, you make use of it, it gives you a benefit, and then you can you use all the marked clues to solve the mystery. All right. Tiberius, you're watching Betty go through all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried for her? Are you proud of her? What is the feeling that you're conveying to Betty?
I'm definitely proud that she's taken up the cause. And also at like how well she sprints up the stairs, much more active than anyone else in the family.
Shape. Yeah.
A tiny bit worried when the door ka-chunks. But she's gained some solid clues to progress the story, so I'm really pleased.
How might you nudge her to try and avoid getting caught by these folks?
Maybe because buildings usually have stairs going up either side. I try to like direct her to switch staircases.
Oh, nice. Run across.
Yeah.
That's cool. Um, I would not be adverse to you being able to manipulate the puzzle itself. So in one session, the artifact was a pocket watch, and the pocket watch would vibrate or say strange, the hands would wind, things like that. So if you want to kind of manifest through the puzzle at all to nudge her, I think that's fine. So,
Yeah. Since it's a sliding puzzle, I guess I'll just like slide it so it makes like almost like a ticking noise so that she'll notice. It's not just like it's in your pocket and it rubbed against your jeans slide.
right.
It's a very intentional.
Love it.
Yeah.
Betty, how do you react to this? What is this? This puzzle's moving on its own.
I kind of look at it. Like I think that brings me to a stop, and I look at it skeptically for a moment. And I say, okay, that's weird. Shit. And I hear like somebody coming down the stairs at me.
Yep.
And I do that thing where I quick look up and I see hands coming down on the handrail, right? Yep. And look down, like trying to do the math, and then I look at that door, and almost certainly, like suddenly in my head I have some farce, like where people are like some 1930s, like a Marx Brothers movie or something, right?
Keystone Cops. Yeah.
And I mutter to myself, Tiberius would appreciate this. And I open the door and, go booking down the hall towards the other stairway, I think.
So I'm going to say that you've triggered a move called Focus on Attuning. And what happens with Focus on Attuning is you're sort of paying attention to each other in kind of a new way. And this would involve a roll. You can take +1 if both characters are kind of focused on it, which I would say it is.
Sounds like we are, yeah.
So we can do that thing where you each roll 1 die again.
I love that.
Betty, you are rolling well. Tiberius, you are not rolling that well.
No.
So that's
I haven't quite figured out how to influence the real world.
We got our 7 though, so that's good.
Yeah, 7, and you get the +1. That's an 8. So that lets you increase your attunement level and take some stress. So I can mark both of those things. You now have 1 stress. Oh yeah, go ahead, Jim. Sorry.
Yeah, we're still at 0, but now, now telepathic manifestation. That's
right.
Cool.
Yeah. So now you, Tiberius, can send images or visions to Betty, which increases your ability to communicate with her. Time flies when you are a high school student attending a cinema. Let me ask, which lead are you two inclined to pursue at this point? I think to move things along, we will assume you get away from the pursuer. So which of these leads would you like to pursue?
I get out of there and
blown off your job.
Yes, yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, whatever. It's like I said, it's temp work. They don't care. For some reason, none of these places ever asked me back.
Right. Shocking.
But like, I kind of like, I kind of do one of these and I say, Okay. And I'm gonna call I'm gonna call the owner of the bakery
Okay.
and tell her that I'm working on a story for the school newspaper
Yes, you are.
because it's National Donut Week next week.
100%. I love that. Tiberius, are you okay pursuing that
Yeah.
lead? The bakery lead, as we like to
Mhm.
call it. Okay, great. Are you calling on? Are you going to the bakery, or are you phoning?
Oh, so then let me just make sure that I understand the fiction that we're dealing with here. So the bakery, she sold it, but it's not closed yet.
Right. They're waiting to sell.
Got it. Okay, sorry. I
That's
was
okay.
under the impression that she had sold it and it was shuttered or whatever. But no. Okay, so that being the case, then I'm gonna head over there.
Okay.
I'm gonna, like whatever, scrounge scrounge around in the bottom of my backpack for whatever quarters I've got left in there. See if I can scrape together enough for a punch key or something like that, and go in there and I think it's kind of a repeat of the when I was in line at the movie theater where it's like I'm like counting my coins and stuff, ching, and I drop them on the counter and I say a jelly donut, blueberry, not one of those red ones, and I'm Betty Jupiter, and I am here with. Do we know what the name of our town is? Have we given our town a name? Oh, so it's Springfield. That's right. That's
Sorry, man.
right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's right. And I'm a reporter for the Springfield High Sentinel, and it's National Donut Week next week. So I was hoping that I could talk to the owner about donuts.
Tiberius, that's what Betty thinks she wants to order. But this is the first time you have been in a donut shop in a while, and you are having a craving for some other kind of pastry. So you are sending a vision, an image of the donut that you really want to Betty. Which of these donuts
or something that's not a donut
or pastries is attracting you?
Probably the apple strudel. It has like the sugar crystals on top, and it's like delicately woven and really pretty.
The apple is just melty just enough. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that image is coming through loud and clear.
Has
Betty,
this I mean, has this bakery been here since the 30s?
why
I
not?
mean,
That sounds great.
yeah. Are you cool with that, Tia? Does that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Like maybe this, you used to get this. You would
Yeah.
pick up a strudel and go to the movies. That was your
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. Betty, you hate apple strudel. Why are you picturing apple strudel?
I don't know. Apples are disgusting.
Right. Did you end up ordering the apple strudel, or were you able to kind of like?
Like I looked at it and I thought about it, and okay, except the reason I don't like apples is because the skin is gross. And I don't know, maybe like if you cover it in sugar, it might. Well, let me see. Count. I'm like 40 cents short for an apple strudel. So
the person behind the counter is Winifred Birch. And she's like, yeah, I'm the owner. Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you about donuts.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Birch. My grade kind of depends on this, so I really appreciate you taking the time. Can we go over here, or?
Yeah, she sort of looks behind you to see if there are any other customers, and there are. So,
yes, yeah, all right.
Yes, so she's like, yeah, sure. She seems kind of down, maybe a little scared, that kind of thing.
So, donuts. So my understanding is you fry them, then bake them. Is that how that works?
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting out of the bakery business, so I mean, maybe
Wait. What? Oh, hang on. This is a scoop, I say, and I take out my notepad and like click my pen and start going. You're getting out of the bakery business?
I mean, there's a closed sign on the door. I don't know if scoop is the right, not closed, but closing sign. There's not. I don't know what kind of scoop you're talking about, young lady, but hey, yeah. It was just time to hang up the apron, as they say.
I mean, you're, why? Is it just not fun? Is it, I mean, because these things are fantastic. You should know that. They're amazing.
Tiberius, how are you getting Betty to, how are you prompting Betty? What visions are you sending her to kind of get her to cut to the chase or ask the hard questions?
Since the bakery's been around for a while, I imagine it has like a plaque on it that says like when it started and how long it's been there, and maybe it has like an engraving of what the building originally looked like. So I like send that.
Nice. Can I pitch another idea too? Like, since you used to shop here or you skip pastries here, maybe Winifred Birch is the daughter or granddaughter of the original owner.
Probably granddaughter at this point. That's probably, yeah.
I really wish the like, this is a historical, significant building. Maybe don't sell it.
So I think you two are working together on Check It Out. This is a move where when you both search a location, do some research, or talk to someone, we've described the approach, and then we roll. So your attunement level is still at 0, but you have sending these cool visions. So why don't you do that thing where you each roll a die? Really pulling for you here, Tia.
Smoking.
All right, that's a 7. That's nice. So you'll get a clue, but we need to pick one from the manifestation list. Let me grab that list so you can pick one. So I think Winnie confesses to you that not only was the money too good to pass up, but things were really starting to get weird, being right next door to the theater, and that there was something that she couldn't explain, but her grandmother had always kind of told her about, but she had sort of dismissed it. And so things were really starting to get kind of unpleasant, that she noticed first little things like utensils going missing, ingredients going bad, and then it got worse and worse. Customers were getting hostile, maybe, and stuff like that. Does that sound like a reasonable clue? All right, so the clue is Baker worried about scary events. I can't think of anything. All right. I'm gonna leave us on a, oh wait, you need to pick one of these manifestation options. I think Tia picked last time. So Jim, does one of these jump out at you?
Oh, I think either player sees an image that disturbs or frightens them.
That's awesome.
Maybe I mean, if we're seeing ghostly stuff, then maybe some kind of image of the like that picture of the bakery with something strange going on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, maybe tentacles are starting to envelop it. Does that sound all right?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I'm just kind of staring at that, and like, my eyes are kind of.
I've got to get back to school now.
Yeah, I can see how that would be disturbing. Thank you for sharing that with me. If I find out anything, I will come back and let you know. This was amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Is before I go, I just have one question for you. And I like point at the apple strudel and I say, is that any good? I've never had one before.
When he says, it's our signature pastry.
And I look very dubious.
That's how we got on the map. This used to be just a strudel stand. And then my grandmother bought the space.
Nothing, just they sold nothing but that?
Oh yeah, the 30s were weird.
I mean, just for the article, could I get a sample?
100%, sure. Yeah, I mean, no one else is coming in here today. And I think as that happens, there's a rumble next door at the theater. Let me ask, fire, tentacles, earthquake, or bulldozers? What are we leaning towards?
And I like the it's an earthquake here in the Midwest where we like never ever have ever had one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very poltergeist.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
well, whatever. It's going to be explained as some kind of weird local seismic activity.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sinkhole.
I think she pushes the so yes, earthquake, everyone's shaking, terrifying. She just pushes the strudel at you, and we cut to commercial.
Fantastic.
All right, so I'm at 11:03. Let's reconvene at 11:13. Sound all right?
Perfect.
Cool. See you shortly. Recording, and we're back. Earthquake. Betty's reaction. Are you sticking around? Are you fleeing? What's the
I fast grab a couple of napkins out of the dispenser and kind of like do a quick wrap on that strudel that goes into my backpack, and then I'm around the corner, and I'm gonna go find T.O. to see what's going on.
You're looking for Tiberius or Travis Oakes.
T.O.
Yeah, I like how he goes by T.O. That makes sense.
I call him T.O. I don't know whether he goes by T.O. or not, but
No.
he goes by T.O. to me.
He doesn't even know that he goes by T.O. to you. I think there are people standing outside the theater, and including Teresa, who's sort of like looking a little horrified. Though I wonder if we make her connected to the beast or connected to whatever's underneath. So she's maybe just looking a little unreadable and
a little dazed and confused.
Yeah. And Tiberius, there are ghosts now standing outside. Like, I don't know why, because they wouldn't be affected. But what do you there's the organist that you saw before. There's a B movie actor named Milton Donovan that you recognize. He's standing out there. He attended a premiere here years ago, and a chandelier fell on him. That's how he died. Yeah, but now he haunts the theater. I mean, haunts. He really just messes with the concession stand. How do you approach these ghosts?
Are any of the other ghosts staff, or is it just the organist?
Oh, I love what you just said. I feel like there's
totally like an actual usher in an usher's uniform with a little cap and stuff. Yeah.
Totally. Hang on, I'm running out of men's names. Give me a second. Oh, actually, this is good. Harcourt Brigham.
Love it.
Is it just says Harcourt on his little name badge, and yeah, he's got the 1930s ghost usher look about him. How did he die? He, I think this theater had a fire, like in 42, and he died in this fire before they rebuilt it. So,
Old films, very flammable.
yes.
So I probably approach Harcourt because I think he might have a better idea. Because the ushers will have like a better sense of the layout of the theater and what's going on behind the scenes, maybe.
Right.
So I approach him and I say, "Do you know what's causing this? I heard that maybe there's something under the theater, but do you know?"
Nice. I've never done it this way before. Is it possible, feasible for Betty to be supporting Tiberius in this effort? Is this something you were doing together?
Well, I mean, are we doing it together if like Tiberius is talking to the usher as I'm talking to Travis, and we're like literally like asking them the same questions?
Yeah, and like building off of each other's like sense of curiosity.
Yeah.
Like kids amping each other up.
That is so good. What are you, you're just simply trying to figure out what caused the earthquake or what happened. So we are pursuing a lead, and this roll could lead to a clue. So why don't we do that thing where you each roll?
Be kind to me, virtual dice.
It's getting better. It's not getting better. All right. So we need to pick one from the manifestation list. I've still got it posted there. I think Tia, it's your turn to pick one of those. And I think I just lost it. You were rolling for check it out. And you are now going to take stress because of that 5.
I think maybe the ghost alerts someone to their presence because there's a bunch of us now, and I assume we're in a high emotional state. So,
I mean, the first person that occurred to me is the theater owner, Teresa Boyd. Is that what I named her? Teresa Hoyt, maybe? Teresa Hoyt.
Terry.
Yes, that is such a good idea. Okay, so she sees you talking to Harcourt, and she immediately makes a beeline for you and says to you, Tiberius, "What did you do?"
I didn't do anything. I was just admiring the pastries. What did you do?
You're new here. I know Harcourt, I know Faye, I know Milton. They've been around for years, for decades, but you're new in town. What did you do?
I mean, I'm not exactly new. I'm my cousin thrice removed was just enjoying a film earlier, and I was enjoying it also. I'm not new to the theater.
Yes, if we were doing real continuity, we would need to explain why Terry didn't see you before. But no matter. Betty, Terry's now nearby, shouting at what appears to be thin air. How do you react to this?
I turn to Travis and I kind of lean in conspiratorially.
Yes,
I'm like, is she okay? Seems like she's under a lot of pressure.
Travis says she does this sometimes. It's been getting worse. And I feel like this is part of the reason why she's agreed to sell the place. I didn't want to say anything before, but I don't know if it's the stress. I don't know if she just needs to get out. But she's been talking to ghosts. Literally and figuratively.
So have you seen any of these ghosts?
What?
Or
No.
so what's the deal with the ghosts? Is it like,
I'm just saying ghosts. Like she's just talking to people that we can't see. I don't know if there's real. She's losing it. She's not. What would be a movie metaphor? She doesn't have both reels of a movie.
yeah. Okay, so I mean, what are we gonna do about it? How are we gonna help her?
I think it's time for another tremor, and the theater clearly starts to collapse in on itself. Teresa's looking. Her face is horror, but also maybe glee, enthusiasm. Not glee so much as like wanting, anticipating. That's the word I'm looking for. I think Travis says to you, young lady, I think you should get out of here. This is dangerous.
And I like, I do that thing where I turn and I like punch him in the chest, and I'm like, first of all, you don't young lady me, old man. Second, and it's is it just like womb, like implosion collapse, or like bits of it, like bits of brick falling off and stuff like that?
I think it's bits of brick falling off. I think we are one step away from collapse.
Got it. And so like I like grab him by the lapels and I say, we gotta get that print of the we gotta get that Hitchcock print out of there.
Yeah, we do.
Wow. Tiberius, how do you react to this? I guess you've got her yelling at you. So you've got Terry yelling at you. Terry says, don't go in that theater. I don't want anyone getting hurt. I don't want anyone else getting hurt.
I'm a ghost. How is a collapsing building going to hurt me? Also, what's in the basement?
Like, I'm not talking to you. And to Betty, that looks like thin air.
Cool.
What do you mean, what's in the basement?
I know there's something in the basement. It's causing the tremors. Is there a basement, or is it literally just underground?
So I think you're doing another investigate roll. And I think you are making use of a clue, okay, which is Atwater wants what's under the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, either one of these clues would fit. Do you have a preference?
No, either or.
Jim, any preference?
I think this is the Baker one because we're going to have dealings later with Atwater, and I'd like to have that clue in our back pocket so that when we're dealing directly with him, we can leverage that against him.
Good thing.
So you were doing the check it out move.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you are sort of talking to Terry,
mm-hmm,
and you're making use of this clue, which means you can roll. So Tia, in Powered by the Apocalypse, there's a technical term, roll with advantage.
mm-hmm.
You may, I think this is true in D&D as well, right?
D&D's got it too, yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, you roll with 3 dice and you pick the best 2. Okay. So one of you has to roll 2 dice and one of you has to roll 1 die. And I'm just curious, which one of you is going to roll the 2 dice?
I think it's Tiberius, because Tiberius is doing the work here of like talking to Terry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do I, in number of D6, I put 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Precisely. You're still at 0 manifestation level, so you won't add anything to that.
Here we go.
Well, there you go.
Yes, finally.
And Jim, I guess that doesn't really, yeah. So 10, that's perfect. I will give you a clue. So wait, let me just
and just Tia, just to jump in for a moment, if you mouse over that 10, it will tell you what the 2 dice rolled.
Oh, cool. This thing's
So,
amazing.
yeah, so like it shows you that you got your 4 and your 6 there. And that's how we would, like, if you had gotten a 7 and it was a 5 and a 2, then we would substitute my 3 in for the 2 and it would become an 8. So yeah.
So not only will you get a clue from me, we also get to bump your manifestation level or your attunement level. Sorry. You're still at telepathic, but now you've got level 1 there. So you were asking what caused the earthquake. Were you asking what caused the earthquake? Or I think this was what's under the theater, right?
Yeah.
Sort of the same question.
What's in the basement?
I
I think you
assume
said.
what's
It's
under
in
the
basement.
theater
Yes, yep. Mhm.
is what's causing it. So I just ask what it is.
I am eager to hear your ideas. Jim, do you have any ideas as to what we could put under the theater?
Well, what could we put under theater? I don't know. It's like I kind of like. I mean, I don't know how Cthulhu we want to get with this or whatever, but yeah, like there's some kind of whatever. It's like a, like a hellmouth or something like that. It's like a, an opening to some dark dimension or something. It's a, yeah, it's a doorway. It's a doorway that's supposed to stay shut.
All right. Tia, ideas? A different idea?
No, I like a hellmouth. Maybe the traffic of the theater sort of like interferes with the boundaries, but the music is soothing.
Just to pitch another idea, is this a artifact that's buried under the theater? That's a much larger version of the puzzle box.
Oh, maybe.
It's interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like
And
that. Yeah, sure.
It's moving because people are trying to attract.
Oh, and where the puzzle
supernatural.
box is a little thing that I can hold in my pocket and clickety click. There's some cavern or something down there that's got a, this is some kind of monolithic thing and it's all like stone slates that slide back and forth with runes on them and crap like that. That's yeah.
And that causes the tremors because they are so large when they move.
Oh, I love that. That's cool. Yeah.
All right. So who would reveal this? I guess Harcourt probably tells Tiberius about this. Maybe he doesn't call it a puzzle box, but he's like the moving stones. And when the energy gets big, the stones move more. The energy's never been this big. I think someone is drawing the energy here. Maybe that's why you showed up. But no matter, now that there's more energy, the stones are moving. And it's going to bring down the theater.
Okay.
Tiberius, how do you convey this to Betty?
Well, from Harcourt's description, I imagine I get a mental image of it, and I do my best to send that to her. With a sort like in movies where they do that, like, oh, it's beneath the house, and they like, wee, and it shows like a blueprint mode.
That's so cool.
We're going down through the street and stuff. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Betty, this image shows up. How do you react to that?
So of course, what I do is I kind of like, I do one of these like, whoa, and I like, clutch Travis's arm, right? And I turn him to face me and I go, you go save that Hitchcock. Go. This is your moment. Don't be a dentist right now. Be a projectionist, I say to him. And I like kind of give him a shove in the direction of the theater.
He does this thing where he straightens his shirt and he's like, I can do both. And he he runs into the theater. Are you? But Betty, you're not accompanying him. You're just
No,
strongly
I'm letting him do that. Like that sends him off so that he can do his thing. And I kind of like I grabbed that notepad that I had when I was interviewing the donut shop lady, and I like kind of do one of these things where I like squint my eyes closed and I pull it out and I like, you know, snap that pen like you've seen me do before. And I start to sketch the picture in my mind, right?
Oh, nice. So you're
And
drawing
I'm
a
like,
picture.
if I can remember this, yeah. And like when I've got it, I kind of look at it, you know, and I do one of these like, you know, I can't make sense of it. But maybe that archaeologist can help me figure out what's going on with it.
I like it. I'm wondering if I should make you roll for how accurately you drew the picture.
You
Or if
totally,
we should just,
totally could.
or we
If
just
that's- I
move
mean, if
along.
this is this, well, actually, well, let me ask you this. Can this be an attunement thing where like Tiberius is helping me? No. That's like, you know, there's more of a, like it's more of a rounded corner as I'm doing it. Like, and I'm like, is that it? And then I get like, how do you feel about that? Does that
Works for me.
Am I
Tia,
guiding your hand, ghost style?
a little bit? Yeah, maybe a little bit of that, little bit of automatic drawing going on.
like
Yeah.
like the images are like you're kind of you zoom into certain aspects of his drawing to kind of show where it needs to be corrected.
Mhm.
All right, let's do it. So this was focus on attuning. You're both focused on it, so you each roll a die and you take +1.
Nice.
Jim's on fire.
Smoking.
The virtual dice are not kind to me.
We got our 7 though, so that's good.
Yeah. So you can increase your attunement level. Ooh, this is not right.
Being a ghost is surprisingly hard.
I mean, can't touch anything.
I
So
can't eat my pastry.
can't eat the pastry. You couldn't even get your relative to eat the pastry for you.
Still in my backpack.
So where did we land here? You get to increase attunement.
But one of us has to take stress.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, that is an old version of the rules.
Oh, sorry. Oh, the stress is shared, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
stress is shared. So take stress. What I can't remember is, yes. So now that you have 3 stress, if you end up taking a 4th, you all have a relationship setback. So the original conception of this game was buddy cop movies.
Mhm.
And you know, in Act 2, the buddies, the partners have made a lot of progress, but they have setback, right? And so that's sort of the idea here. All right. Betty, you suggested going to show this drawing to the archaeologist.
Yeah.
Is that the question we want to
Dr.
answer?
Vivian Sherman, I think, right?
Yes.
Vivian Sherman, PhD.
Thank you. I mean, let's technically, you didn't know she was an archaeologist. You just heard the name. But
Oh, sorry.
That's
You
okay.
know what? You told me that, I think, as a player,
Yes,
but that wasn't.
but
So I mean that's as simple as like whatever. I look at the community college faculty list for someone who might help me figure this out, and like
The name
Vivian
list.
Sherman, I heard that name somewhere. Oh, and she's an archaeologist. So
great. So I'm going to change the lead to what are these moving stones all about? And I think did you get a clue? No,
I don't think so.
we didn't. All right, moving on. Tiberius,
Mhm.
Is it possible that this is an old college that maybe, or a converted high school that you studied at many years ago in the 30s that has since been converted into a community college?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Our
I wonder
town
if,
has a very historic vibe about it.
right. Historic may be a very generous way of putting the vibe that it has. So, and this Dr. Sherman's office is in one of the original buildings. Just to paint the scene a little bit, um, what here remains from your time at the school?
I imagine probably the oldest building is like in the center, so it has like a more modern facade, but then they like the historic part is sort of preserved in the middle.
Yes.
A lot
I
of
wonder-
stonework, not so much glass.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe it's like if it's like was an old like WPA project,
Oh, nice.
like a Depression era, like the government built it as a, because they built a lot of like schools and gymnasiums
Right.
and all that kind of stuff as, as public works things to give people jobs during the Depressions.
Yeah, that's great. I wonder, Tiberius, is there a specific feature that jumps out at you of this building, either inside or out, that is like it kind of brings it back for you?
Hmm. My immediate thought is stained glass windows, but that's not really something they do for schools.
But why not? I mean, like maybe, yeah, maybe that's well, one of the professors started this tradition of swapping out their window for some stained glass, and so other
Mhm.
professors started to do it. So it's sort of this patchwork of
Yeah.
of weird stained glass in
I
various
mean,
windows.
and honestly, if it is a thing that's left over from the 30s, they did all kinds of like they employed artists and stuff
Yeah.
like that too. So if
Mhm.
it's
Those kinds of
got one particular window that is this historic stained glass thing when they originally built the project, that could totally still be there. That's
Yeah.
whatever. Like I mean, and
It's like
I am
absurdly fancy for a school because they really
Yes.
wanted it to be a nice environment.
sure. Yeah. And and it would be some kind of like, whatever, like American workers, whatever ingenuity
Yeah.
kind of thing or something like that, industry progress, it's kind of, as opposed to like whatever, like a religious stained glass thing.
Mhm.
Okay. That's great. I love that. Vivian's office. Betty, what's the first thing you notice when you get into Vivian's office? She's an archaeologist.
The first thing I notice is that she's got she has a great big Raiders of the Lost Ark first run movie poster that kind of dominates one wall. That's like clearly like her inspiration from a little girl to become an archaeologist.
Signed by Harrison Ford.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And keep it like because I want that movie connection to be there. So
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
great. And in fact, maybe like as soon as you see her, everything just clicks for you. You've seen her at the theater. She's an older archaeologist.
Okay. Yeah.
And she so in the couple times that you've gone to go catch an old movie, she's sometimes in the theater there
Yeah.
with
Okay.
you. I was wondering if she's also like the main bad guy here. I mean, should I play her up as like the person who's kind of drawing in all this energy? Like if she can't have the theater, nobody can have the theater, kind of thing.
That's interesting. So I feel like that is like where I don't want to have an opinion on that, and I want to play to find out.
Okay.
I mean, because like if we've been watching the show all along, we absolutely suspect that she's going to help us and be on our side.
Yeah.
And developer douchebag is going to be the bad guy.
Yeah, we
but
can't.
you know, but maybe it goes that way. Maybe it doesn't, and I'm very happy to see how it rattles
Yeah.
out. So you,
No,
you
you're
should
right.
do what you want with that.
No, you're right. We shouldn't introduce the bad guy in the third act. Yeah. But she does have some big old books open, and she's kind of looking through them as you approach her office. Betty, what do you say?
Dr. Sherman, hi. I'm Betty Jupiter. I am a reporter for the Springfield Sentinel high school newspaper. And I know that it's, I think National Archaeology Week is coming up. Isn't that right? I don't know. Anyways, my editor said at the paper said something about it, and he said I should come talk to you because you know all about local history and archaeology and have, you know.
Young lady, if you have a question, just ask.
Okay. What's under the movie theater? And like she says that, and so then I just like lean in and get like
So
close talking distance from her, and I whisper, "What's under the movie theater?"
That's so good. That is such a Veronica Mars move.
Yeah.
She's like, what do you mean? What's under the movie theater?
I mean, what is this is what I mean. And I just drop the notebook in front of her with the picture on it.
So good. And she clearly looks startled. Betty, are you intimidated talking to a adult like a well-respected, well-educated doctor adult?
Yeah, no.
So Betty may overstep her bounds.
Oh my God, yeah. Betty's whole thing is rough and tumble. So like
I forgot about that movie.
I get in trouble when I like push my luck and and get in over my head. Like I'm not enjoying myself if I'm not, like just short of out of control. So
Tell me, Tiberius, things are very delicate, I think. What sort of message do you send to Betty to kind of calm her?
To calm her down, let's see.
I mean, just to make sure she doesn't push things too far. I mean, does that sound all right? Does that sound like something that Tiberius would do?
I don't know. I really dig the direct approach.
Oh yeah. So
there's no sense pretending we don't know that something's going on.
How are you?
What would Rosalind Russell do here? She would just get right in his face. Yeah. All right, Professor.
How are you?
What's the skinny on what's under the theater?
I might try to I imagine that she's not very intimidating, Betty, being that she's just a high schooler. So I maybe try to lend some of my ghostly powers to give her a more menacing aura.
A little bit of gravitas.
Sure. Yeah.
Love it. So let's roll. Check it out. I don't think you have any clues you can use to buff this. So you are just rolling plus attunement, but your attunement is now 1. So you each roll a die, and then we'll add 1 to the total. Tia.
If I'm understanding how this works, I would like to use one of my histories to bump our roll to a 7.
I was going to suggest, I was hoping all of that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, Tia, what Jim is saying is that each of you has a set of histories, and you can choose to mark a history to go from a 6- to a 7 or 9. But now you have to narrate something. So, Betty, which history are you marking?
I'm gonna mark I'm going to mark an experience that hinted to you the presence of an afterlife.
So tell us from within Betty's short life, what experience did she have to suggest there might be ghosts in the world?
So I think I had a friend, a very good friend, who's who got sick and died of some like terrible congenital childhood disease, leukemia or something like that, right?
Okay.
And you know, and that was a very traumatic, very devastating with me. I was like there, like they wouldn't let me be in the room with her when she died. Like they insisted that I leave. You know, even though I demanded like I like had a tantrum and kicked and screamed, and they had to like, you know, bodily drag me out so that I couldn't be there with her when that happened. But when we were, and this was like, I don't know, like I was like 8 or 9 years old, something like that. And there's like a lake, you know, outside, like at the edge of town, where like the kids all go and they like party on the beach and whatever and stuff like that. And the lake has an island in the middle of it. And there's like, you know, like there's like a whatever, like a couple of like campsites, like whatever, little cabins or something there or something like that. And it's got a couple of docks and everything. And the older kids would always swim out to that island. And we swore that someday together we would swim out there. And like after she died, I was like, I'm gonna swim out to the island.
Nice.
And I got like halfway and I realized I am not gonna make it. And you know, like it's getting harder and harder, and I'm like having trouble keeping my head above water. And I said, I'm sorry, I thought I could do it, to her. And like things kind of went black, and I woke up on the dock on the island.
Nice.
And to this day, I'm convinced that she saved me. So
that was really lovely. Thank you for that. So now we get to go from a 6- to a 7 to 9, which means you get a clue and you pick one from the manifestation list. I don't remember whose turn is it. I think Jim, since you told us that nice story, do you want to pick one of those?
Yeah, manifestation list, which is
I've just pasted it in the chat. So.
Yeah. Oh, I think I reveal the possible existence of a ghost to someone else, and it's totally this professor.
Okay. So what does that look like?
That looks like I slapped that down in front of her, and she looks surprised, and and Tiberius, now that we're like looking at it, like what did I get wrong in the drawing that you can now go, oh no, wait, you need to fix that or add that thing to it?
Imagine that it has like language characters, but not English. So like an English person trying to do like Japanese characters just off of like sight,
Sure.
And not quite getting the shape because they're very specific.
Perfect. That's so good.
And so I go, oh wait, hang on. No, it's not. Wait. So it's like a curly Q. Like this? No. Like, oh, like pie, right? Yeah, okay, like pie. Okay, all right. And like I'm clearly talking to someone.
Right.
And like I draw it 3 times, and it's never quite right. And I just sigh and I go, okay, well then why don't you do it? And I just kind of let my hand go limp on the pen. And Tiberius just like helps me draw it perfectly.
And Tia, does that sound okay with you?
Yeah, it sounds great.
How does this work from your perspective to guide her hand? Are you like channeling the pen? Does he have to stick the pen in the puzzle, in the little wooden puzzle, so you can manifest in the puzzle? What do you think?
I think maybe like because it's a sliding puzzle, the way it slides sort of like mimics what I'm doing with the pen.
Okay.
Like if I'm going left, then like a piece will slide left, and if I go up, it'll go.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think the archaeologist, whose name I've already forgotten, Vivian Sherman, she's sort of staring, completely dumbfounded, and a little confused, a little relieved, like maybe all these things that she's been studying are real. And she says, if this is what you see, then we have to hurry, or the whole town could go down. And she sort of stands up, puts on Indiana Jones hat, and grabs your hand and starts walking with purpose.
Okay.
Sound all right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the clue is. When you rolled, you got a clue. What could she say to you that is legit a clue? Maybe this needs a. She says then. I'm going to use a terrible word, but like a warlock, must have activated the stones. Does that sound all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we're at 11:55. Feels like a good time for a break.
Yeah.
Time is flying. I don't know about you all, but I am really enjoying this.
Oh, yeah.
So let us reconvene at 12:05. Sound good?
Okay, cool.
Time check. It's 12:05. I have to stop at 12:30 to make lunch for the troops. So, and I would really like to do at least, let's say 10 minutes of reflection.
Sure.
So that gives us,
I have no problem if we like fast forward a little bit through like to get to something that's more like the end game state if we're not necessarily close to that. Tia, do you mind jumping a little bit of the in the middle stuff if it gets us to,
No, this is fine.
at the end? Yeah, cool.
I was actually going to hard frame us back at the movie theater.
Perfect.
We've got a number of players or NPCs in play, but I'm going to say there is a hooded figure standing amidst the rubble of the movie theater. So you don't know who it is. But none of the other folks that you would expect to see here are here. So there's no process of elimination. So we can make this a genuine mystery. So they can say that they would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kid plus ghost. So let's maybe describe the scene a little bit. How bad, I guess, Tiberius, how bad is the rubble? Like what are you seeing in terms of the devastation of the movie theater?
A lot of the chairs are smashed. You can see like the remnants of one of the columns just like fully tipped over.
Nice.
The beautiful velvet curtains are just like sheared and ruined, and just like little jagged bits of them hanging off things. There's glass everywhere from the windows going.
Nice.
There's probably like a lingering smell of popcorn in the air.
I was gonna ask, what's the smell in the air? Obviously,
It's dusty. There's a little bit of popcorn butter.
right. And soda.
Yeah.
Is any of it still standing, or is there like one standing wall, or is the whole thing collapsed in on itself?
I imagine that the wall with the projectionist window is still partially intact.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion? Because I something Tia said before. I love the idea that it's crumbled around except those columns are still standing.
Yeah.
So now it looks like it's like suddenly it looks like a, you know, like an ancient temple or something like that. And the columns are still there. Yeah.
But
And the columns
is wrecked.
And maybe we realize that the columns are much older than the rest of the
Right.
building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they had been maybe encased in some kind of stucco or plaster, and now all that's fallen off, and all of those symbols that you had mentioned, they're square and they're like
the projection is still running, so it's casting like a little bit of like a light on the columns.
good. Yeah, and all you hear is Hitchcock's soundtrack kind of echoing.
And the sound of like the film just like spooling off.
Oh my gosh, that's creepy. Betty, I guess who from the town do you recognize showing up here to observe? Who's kind of arrived to check things out?
Am I bringing a new character in here, or is this someone that we?
I think just sort of like, is this a big crowd? Are police here? Are fire brigade here? Like who? Or is it kind of weirdly quiet?
I think it's weirdly quiet. I think it's weird that there's like no one here, right? Maybe there's some like there's like a single constable or whatever out front, you know, in his car, you know, playing Bejeweled or something like that on his phone or whatever, not really paying attention. But like, because the cop car is there, this is the kind of town where like, well, okay, the police have it under control.
Right.
We don't need to worry about that. Like, it's literally that kind of thing.
So it's this kind of eerie devastation, and virtually no attention is being paid.
Yeah.
Tiberius, are the ghosts here, or are the ghosts mysteriously not here? Are the ghosts the only one who care about this?
I think maybe Faye would have stayed because she really seems like bound up in the theater, but I don't see anyone else. She's just sort of there like fretting over what she's gonna do because she was supposed to be playing the music.
I have a weird idea. Maybe I love that. But maybe she's also losing her grip on the material world.
Yeah.
That now that the stones are activated, she's sort of doing one of these, like getting drawn in to it.
Yeah.
Does that sound all right?
Yeah, her connection has been like tethered and she's unraveling, so to speak.
Tiberius, you have a moment to ask her a question.
Uh-oh.
What do you say to her?
One question. Gotta make it count. What do I want to ask?
You can say anything. Have a nice afterlife, or like you have a moment with her is all I'm saying.
I will say.
She pretty?
Her name's Faye. She has to be pretty.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like.
I understand how dutifully you stayed to play your organ, and it was wonderful, but at least now you don't have to be stuck here. I kind of do like a, isn't that better, maybe?
That's very nice sentiment. She says, let's see, what's something heartfelt she could say. Maybe she says something like, keep going to the movies, and then she's gone. Betty, Vivian is kind of dumbstruck when she's here. How do you get her to talk or act?
I say to her, look, that thing is down there and we got to figure out what's going on with it. Look at me, Doc. WWID, Doc.
She's like, but Indiana Jones was younger and better looking. And
Doc, Crystal Skull, Doc. You never stop being indie, Doc.
so true. I feel like the thing is collapsed. So now you can, as you walk up to the edge, this warlock person is maybe even floating above it. There's mystical energy coming off the stones. They are, let's call it 20-ish feet down below the surface, like just like far enough where it would be a drop, but you can see it from where you're at. And there's energy kind of swirling around. I mean, I'm gonna lean way into this, and there's 80s. Hello, kitty cat. That's a nice looking tiger. I'm picturing 80s Ghostbuster, like, at the end when all the ghosts are out. It's sort of that kind of energy swirling around. Tiberius, are you feeling a tug at all, or you feel like you are sufficiently attached because of the puzzle box here?
I think I'm sufficiently attached. Like now that Betty and I have really started to bond and get to know each other, I definitely have enough of a reason to stick around and to like fight any pull that might be coming off.
What image do you send to Betty to let her know that you're still here?
Strudel.
That's so good. That 100% makes sense to me. Betty, your reaction to the strudel?
I nod, and you know what? Yeah, I nod and I kind of like cinch that backpack strap a little tighter over one shoulder, and I kind of walk up to the edge of the pit where that dude is floating. I'm just gonna say, dude, whatever, where whatever that thing is floating.
Yeah.
And I say, Doc, I'm gonna keep Nostradamus here busy. You get down there and I don't know, do whatever it is you're gonna do.
That sounds great. I feel like you two are doing the take them down move when you work together to pursue, evade, get physical, start shooting. Describe your approach. So what are you doing? Does that sound right to you all? And Betty, what precisely are you doing?
I think in an echo of what happened earlier, I'm walking down the aisle and like I'm just picking stuff up off the floor. Hey, chunk, Dr. Caligari, chunk, just like hucking stuff at this guy. Nosferatu, what's your deal? As I'm throwing stuff at him.
That's great. Tiberius, any ideas on how you might be helping here? Are you pointing out especially heavy objects to throw?
Or maybe keeping me from getting swarmed by other ghosts.
Right. Yeah, keeping the
Yeah. I like a force field maneuver.
All right. So you are rolling, take them down. You are each rolling a die. And I think your attunement level is 1. So you will add 1 to that total.
Oh no.
You're muted, Jim.
Tiberius, do you want to use one of your flashbacks to get us out of this?
Sure. So how exactly does this work?
I will tell you. On your character keeper, there is a list of histories.
Mm-hmm.
You can look through that list and pick one. When you check it off, you will narrate something to us based on what you've checked off. And we will, instead of using the 6-, we will use the 7 to 9.
Okay. Hmm. I think maybe, oh, they're all such good like prompts.
I was very proud of these. Yes.
An unresolved incident with a family member that you regret.
Right.
So let's say I had an older brother. We'll give him Octavius. We have weird names. We're a mild family, but we have very ostentatious names. And because I was always traveling and I was always gone and I was always doing something and I had like ants in the pants and I was never around, our relationship sort of fell into like despair because I wasn't there to like build it. And then our parents like reached, you know, an age where they needed more help. And so I was back in town for the weekend, gonna hit up the theater, go to the movies, and he stopped me and was talking to me and saying, you know, we need you to be here. The family is in such a state, and it would really help me if you were here and I could count on you. And our parents are getting older now and they need more support. And I shouldn't have to do all of this by myself. And I just, you know, was never super connected to the family because I had this very different view of what my life should be like. So I kind of brushed that off, you know, didn't go to the movies at all, just like left town without saying anything because I didn't want to give up this sort of like freewheeling life I had going on. But in the back of my mind, I always wondered if maybe I made the wrong choice. And so this was like a real damaging moment for my brother and I. And I did ultimately regret it, even though I had already established the kind of person I wanted to be. I sort of had to establish this at the cost of my family and my relationship with my brother.
Nice. That was really lovely. That was a nice history. Because of your bump, now 7 to 9, Betty has stopped this threat, which I will ask in just a moment. But you also need to pick one from the list that's currently in the chat as well.
Okay.
See which one of those jumps out at you?
What does it mean by get stuck or trapped?
Literally stuck or trapped. I mean, I think here this is like if we're talking about Betty, she falls, something falls on her, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And I mean, and maybe Tiberius gets like swarmed by these other ghosts who
Yeah.
keep them from going anywhere.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, especially you're walking through a destroyed building, the likelihood that you'll trip or something is pretty high. So stuck or trapped.
Okay.
Okay, so I think Betty's tripped, but you're throwing these things disrupted the warlock.
I think I get the like foot through the floor thing. You know,
Oh yeah.
like it goes down through like down to my knee. Oh crap! Ah, you know, like that. So,
but the warlock, between that and the things being thrown at them, stops and turns. Vivian is now kind of manipulating the box. Just 10 more minutes. Manipulating the box. Lunch is needed, and she's called the police who were sitting outside the whole time. They've approached. I would like to do the solve the mystery move.
yeah.
You've got one clue marked. I mean, is it feasible you used? I think you maybe used this. Warlock must have activated the stones on this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
So you've got
It hadn't even like we were just rolling, and it hadn't occurred to me we should have used that to get advantage on that last roll. So yeah.
So we are solving the mystery. This is, you're going to roll 2 dice So you can each roll 1, and then you will add 2 to that. And we will, once we roll that, we will sort of reveal who we think the warlock is.
Nice.
All right, so that is an 11 in my book. That means the mystery is complete and there are no loose ends. Jim, who do you think the warlock is?
Oh, the warlock is I think the warlock's gotta be oh no, the warlock is so obviously Travis. Absolutely, the warlock is Travis. That's the big twist, is that the warlock is Travis. And I insisted he go back into the building, right?
Right.
And stuff. So yeah, it's totally Travis who's the warlock. Yeah.
Tia, does that sit okay with you?
Absolutely.
The hood falls down. His face is revealed. He looks especially evil, and he says, in the interest of time, and I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you. They say that as he is being led into the car, nobody knows why he's being arrested, but there we are. Friends, that was super fun. I had a really good time. I hope you did as well. With the 7 minutes that I am permitted, I'm going to ask you for stars and wishes. Mostly, T, have you used stars and wishes before? Are you familiar with that tool? So for Tia's benefit, a lot of GMs do this on the Gauntlet. A star is something that you really liked, and a wish is something that you would do differently next time, or you'd like to see differently next time. Since we don't have a next time, you can just simply say, I mean, I could always use feedback on the game or something that you really like that you would like to take to the next game with you. So to demonstrate, I'm going to ask my friend Jim to start us off. Stars and wishes, Jim?
Oh, I mean, all the stars to Tia for your first Gauntlet game. You were right there with us with doing the whole story gaming thing. Your fiction was awesome, and in particular, I loved the other ghosts that you came up with. That was really cool. Like we had a cast. Yeah. There in fairly short order, and I really liked all of that, and in particular, and like just from the jump, for me as a player, the like kind of tactile idea of that puzzle box being a thing that kind of was always there and reminded me of your presence and we could slowly build on and stuff. That was a really great little thing to have. That was just a very cool artifact. I really dug that. So, yep. So thank you for all of that. Yeah.
Any wishes?
It never felt like stress mattered at all to us. So like it feels like like as we played it today, it feels very binary. It's like either you're at 4 or you're not. I mean, and we're ticking up to get there. But my hunch is that it probably matters more as like a timing mechanism and stuff like that if we're playing over multiple sessions. Right. But boy, I didn't feel like it had any impact. And I wonder if even including it at all in a one shot like this, if you even need it there.
Yeah, good feedback.
So.
All right, Tia, you're up. Stars.
This was like the greatest, most spectacular introduction to the Gauntlet I could have hoped for. So thank you. I had a blast. I love how D&D has this very sort of like once you've said it, it's canon and like that's it kind of vibe to it. So I really liked our ability to like say an idea and then we all kind of riff on it and we revise it and it feels more collaborative. So that was awesome. I love the story and the characters and the fact that it's filmed just fills my nerdy heart with so much love. It was really great.
That's great. I'm so pleased that you had such a good experience. This was exactly what happened to me 2 years ago when I jumped in on this Hearts of Wulin game, and I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. So Wishes. Anything you can reflect on in terms of wishes for the next game you play, or feedback for me on the game?
My immediate wish is to play this again, like as soon as possible. I don't know. It was a lot easier to learn than D&D, certainly. So, and you explained it all very well. So I don't think I have any like major criticisms. It was a lot easier to pick up. I was a little worried, but yeah.
Okay, good. That's great. Yeah, I think I would like to use the quote "easier to learn than D&D" if I ever publish this game. So
Yeah, D&D is surprisingly complicated. I'm also super glad that there's not as much math.
yeah, yes. Well, friends, I had a really, really good time. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you for joining me in this game. I'm going to stop the recording.